knots, 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 knot, 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 knots. There are a lot of piano wire knot tying videos out there, and I suggest you look at as many as you can find. Everyone demonstrates it a little differently and explains it a little differently, and the more perspectives you get, the better you'll understand. One difference with this video is I show 3 knots in one video. Hope you like it. Hello, this is Maggie, and I am going to show you 3 wire knots, 3 ways to tie knots in piano wire, and 2 different ways to bend the wire. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to share some bending wire basics. So if you have any trouble, you can catch that at the end of the video. I think I'm going to have pauses and lags in this video, so I'm probably going to edit it, which means it'll jump here and there, and if it jumps, it just means that I stopped to think a moment. So we have 3 kinds of knots. This is what I call a traditional knot. Some don't, but that's what I call it. We have a square knot. That is a square knot. And this is a hybrid knot. It's a little bit of both. They each have their uses. I'm going to make each one of these using different colored wire so you can see how they work. Then I'm going to make them with piano wire. So let's make a traditional knot first. And the first way to bend it is with round nose pliers. You take 1 wire and you curlicue it around. It doesn't matter which way, but whichever way you go, you go on top. See how I went on top? If you go the same direction on the other one, you go on the bottom. If you go on top on this one, then you go the other direction. So in this case, I'm going to go the same direction and go on the bottom. Or I could stay on top and go the other direction. Doesn't matter. But they end up being opposite. Do you see that? They have to be opposite. You bend it toward what I'm going to call this the tail. You bend it toward the tail. And these I'm making right now without having the ends captive. I'm going to get to that. I just want to show you how they fit together. So this is how it fits together. And that's what it looks like. If you do this with one end captive, I'm going to pretend this end is captive right here in the piano, meaning you don't have access to it. You make this knot first, and on this one I went to the left and over. Yes, to the left and over. You stick it on. So this one I either need to go to the right and over or to the left and under. I'm going to go to the right and over. Wait, is this to the right? I'm about to find out. No, that's to the left. So I'm going to go under. See how confusing this is? I'm going to make it look simple, but it won't be. And then you take the end of that wire, put it through there, boom, there you are. So this is the traditional knot. And I'm going to do this again, but on piano wire. So this isn't the last time I'm going to show this to you. But I'm going to go ahead and move right now to a square knot. And I'm going to show you another way to bend them in a little bit. A square knot, you bend both of these wires the exact same way. And you need a longer tail on these. That's one of the disadvantages to them. It takes a little bit more wire to make these. I'm going to make a very large bend here because, in fact, that's probably not enough tail, but I'm going to leave it. You bend, I'm going to put more tail in this one. I'm going to make a very large bend because this wire is so fat, but it's easy to see. That's why I'm doing it. And then, so these are both bent the same direction. Okay. And you bend them up or down, as long as they're the same. They need to be exactly the same. Then one of them ends up being upside down. And I'm going to call this part, this is my tail, I'm going to call this my bend. Right there, that's my bend. You take, not the tail, but the long piece of wire, and either one of them, you stick it in a bend of the other. Then, whoops, there's the bend. You wrap it around and get the length of the other wire in the other bend, and then you lead these little tails through the loop, which is why they need to be a little longer and they need to be bent close to the main wire. There we are. So that's our square knot. And I'm going to show you that again and talk through it again, but on piano wire. The last one is the hybrid knot. And so I'm going to go ahead and make a long tail on this one again. This is going to be my square knot half. And on this one, I don't know if it matters which way you bend them, but I'm going to show you how I do it. I bent this one to the left and point up. So I'm going to bend this one, you know, I've forgotten how I've done it. I think to the left and over. I'm about to find out. And like I said, I don't think it matters a whole lot. So I'm going to make a traditional half here. And the beauty of this is it doesn't really matter which end you have captive. If this end is captive, I can take this one and go in there, loop it around, and looky there. Yeah, I did it right. I prefer to have the tails on opposite sides, but I don't know that it matters. I just in case it matters, I put them on opposite sides. So that's how you do it that way. But if this side is the one that's captive, if this one is, you just do the same thing. You stick it through here. Oh, I'm gonna get it on there. Get it in the curve, the bend. I'm going to get my vocabulary right here. I have trouble with that. And that is the hybrid knot. So it doesn't matter which end is captive, it works. All right, I'm going to move on to piano wire. And I'm going to show you another way to bend the wire. And I want to thank Sheffy for giving me the idea of using electrical wire for this. The double color is obvious, that is easy to see. So anyway, this will be a little harder to see because I'm using this, and you can do the same thing with round nose pliers, but I'm going to show you another trick Sheffy and Ed showed me, which I appreciate very much. Thank you to you both. These are hefty, but I have giant ones. You don't need giant ones. I have giant ones because the end of these is so nice to hold wire. It's so wonderful. I hope I haven't gotten off screen. I can't see myself, so I don't know if I have or not. So if I put this wire in here, no, I don't think I have enough in there. Hold on. I gotta make sure I have enough for a tail here. Am I in the camera? If I'm not in the camera, I have to redo everything. Ooh. Okay, I've clamped this wire in this pliers now. This is beautiful. You can curve it around and it makes you a beautiful, whoop, see, I'm off my camera. A beautiful little loop. Look at how lovely that is. And I'm going to bend it up. Now on this one, I went to the right and over. So the next one, I need to go to the left and over or to the right and under. And this is going to be my captive wire. So I'm going to go ahead and stick it through here. I'm going to put a little bend in here just to make sure I don't accidentally pull it out. So this one was to the right and over. So I'm going to go ahead and make this one to the left and over. It kind of doesn't matter. And you won't be able to see this as well because I'm going to face down. Well, maybe I can do it this way. That might be seeable. Isn't that lovely? I love this. It makes such a nice tight little loop. And whoops. So what I was supposed to do is put this end on first. So that'll help you always remember to do that. I was supposed to put that on first. Get on there. There we are. Now it's on. Put that on first. Do your loop. And trust me, the way I just put that on there, it's not normally that easy. And then you bend this one like you're supposed to, like I explained. And you have a nice little knot here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bend this. And I'm going to stick this end over here. I'm going to tighten it up and show you what it looks like when it's tightened. And I'm going to cross over here just for a second. Whoops. There we go. I can do it. That's pretty good. Now I'm doing this without gloves, so if I go too tight, it's going to snap and hurt me. Oh, I'm undoing this side, so it doesn't matter. So there we are. So that is a pretty good knot. Let me get a close up here. There we are. There's my knot. Pretty full. It would need to be a little tighter. That could be a little tighter there, but that's it. So on to the next knot. I'm going to pause this while I get this wire off of here. Actually, I went ahead and tightened it some more, so I'm going to show it to you. So that looks much better. That's kind of what they look like when they get tight. So now I'm going to take the wire off and do a square knot. So for my square knot, I'm going to go ahead and go back to my round nose pliers. And you can use round nose pliers for the other knot, but the way I just showed you, you get a much tighter knot with less wire to begin with. It's very nice. The advantage to that knot is it takes less wire to make, and you end up with a neater knot in the end. The advantage to this knot is it's easier to put together, and it doesn't matter. You can get both of the wires prepped at the same time. You don't need to get one on before you do the other one. So I'm gonna turn this around, and I'm making a much smaller bend this time. But see how much tail I have? That's a lot of tail. I might not need that much, but if you don't have enough tail on these wires, on these bends, they undo. So I went to the left. I'm going to bend it up. And if this were my captive wire, I would do the same thing. I would go to the left. I might not need that much tail, but I'm not going to risk it right now. I went to the left. Let me make sure I have this. Yeah, I went to the left. And that's this way. That way's left. Otherwise, this is right. If you go to the right, you bend it down. They have to be exactly the same. See? So if this is my captive wire, I'm going to go ahead and put it in my jig. Oh, there. So the wire that I'm going to splice onto it looks the same, has the same bend. The closer the tail is, the better. You don't want it overlapping, but you want it kind of close. This one's overlapping, so I'm going to pull it out. Am I off my screen? I'm off my screen again. I'll have to redo the whole video if I keep getting off my screen. So they look the same. I'm going to put this end in the other pin. And here's the beauty of these. Actually, I'm not going to yet. The beauty of these is you can just put them together. I'm going to put the long end of one wire into my bend. I'm going to loop around and stick the long end of my other wire in the other bend. And as I pull them together, I'm going to make sure the ends go through the bend. And there I have a square knot. So now, well, in fact, I'll do that again for you. I'm going to pop it back over there. Ooh, it didn't come undone. Usually it comes undone. And I'll pull this through, make sure my ends go through the bends. There we are. Ta-da-da. Now I'll tighten this one up so you can see what it looks like. This one I'm bending backwards, and that's okay. This one I am not bending backwards. There we are. That's a square knot. Let me go just a little tighter. There we are. And I will bring it up close so you can see it. If my phone quits wiggling. And we'll get into focus here. There we are. There's my square knot. Now you can see how long these are, these little tails. They're really long. I didn't need to make them this long, but you can't make them as short as the other knot because the knot will just untie as you tighten it. So you do have to make them longer. So you have to be careful with this knot. You can't make it where it's going to like grab felt and stuff like that, because these tail ends will grab stuff. When you're done, it's a good idea to trim them. Take some wire cutters and trim them a little bit. But it's an easy knot to tie, so there are advantages to that. I'm going to pause my video while I get ready to do a hybrid knot. The advantage to the hybrid knot, just like the square knot, is that it doesn't matter which end is in the piano. It doesn't matter which end is captive. And I'm going to go ahead and stick this in here right now. I'm going to, for this time, I'm going to go ahead and make the square side of the knot here. And you know what? No, I'm not. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to do the traditional knot here because usually the captive wire is the one you have less room for mistakes. So let's see how I do here. I've only made this knot like once or twice in the field. And I just did it today to make sure I could still do it. So I'm going to grab this with my pliers. This is what I like to use when making the traditional knot. So I'm going to grab it and I am going to turn it around. So I've gone, this will be to the right and under, or to the left and over, depending which way you're looking. I didn't quite go far enough, but to the right and over is there. Let's see if this works if I don't go far enough. We'll see if it undoes itself. It'll be an experiment. And let me tighten that down. And so this will be my square knot. I'm going to use my round nose pliers. I'm going to, I wonder how small of a tail I could go. Let's experiment a little bit here. There's my tail. Those were my hands popping. There we are. So let's see, this one was to the right and over, so I need to go to the right and up. So I think. And then to put this piece on, I'm going to stick it through the loop. Get it through there. There we are. Now I'm going to, it's going to fight me. There we are. Come on. There we are. Nope. Boy, it doesn't want to go where I want it to go. There we are. Okay, so I've gotten the long piece into my bend. It's through that hole. I'm going to guide my tail through the hole. And there we are. That's how the knot works. So I'm going to put it through the other side of my little jig here. Maybe kind of, sort of. Oh, come on, I can thread a needle. Surely I can thread this. There we are. Pull it back through, make sure it's there. There we are. And I'm going to tighten it. And we'll see what happens. I don't know. I think this isn't going to work. I think I don't have a long enough tail on my traditional side. Oh, maybe. It's thinking about it. This side's undoing. That's not bad. Let's see if I can go a little tighter without like injuring myself here. I don't know. I feel like that would need to be tighter in a piano. There. So let me get my focus. There we are. And there's my hybrid knot. I've never used one of these in field, ever. I just know that people have done this. And with this one also, I would probably trim the tail on the longer side. I think that would have to go tighter in field. Maybe. I can show you something I didn't show you, and then I'll end up doing something again in the camera view and not pop off. I'm going to try and be more careful about that. This concept, now if I was using real piano wire, I would not have this much tail sticking off, but I'm not. I'm using electrical wire. You grab the wire with these pliers with this type of bend, and I'm curving it around, and there I am. And so that's one half of it. But I wanted to show this method of bending it with the electrical wire. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Now here I went, so it's a little review too. I went to the right and over. So I'm going to go to the left and over, because with these you can't, you have to go over. So I'm going to the left and I'm curling it around and making a beautiful little curly cue there. If I go off the camera again, I'm going to be so mad at myself. Oh. And just show you how they fit together. There they are. That's beautiful. And once again with the captive end, what you do, if my black end is captive, you make the loop first, and this one was to the right and over. So this one's going to be to the left and over, and I know that's not going to be a good view, but I showed it to you already. I'm going to come up here so I can see it. There we are. Yep. Somewhere in here we're going to get the right view. And so this was my captive wire in the piano. I put this wire on first, I made the loop. This is a little long, but you stick it through, and then there you are. That's your wire. So just in case I missed the square knot, I'm going to do another one. And with these, you got to make a bigger loop. You have to have a longer tail. I know I've already said all this, but you don't have to watch this if you don't need it. That's a PS at the end. I went to the left, I'm bending it up. If I go to the left, I bend it up. If I go to the right, I bend it down. You know, here's to the left, here's to the right. So if this is looped over to the left and bent up, and this one is looped over to the right, you bend it down. Or if it's here, you bend it up. You see how it's the same bend? All that matters is they end up the same. And then to put them together, both ends can be captive, doesn't matter. You put it in the bend, you loop it around, you get the other one in the bend, and then, wait a minute. I went the wrong way. There we are. I didn't even have to guide that in. That was beautiful. That's the square knot. All right, and then the hybrid, you just mix the two. All right, so those are my 3 knots. So if you don't have any questions, you can stop the video here. If you have trouble bending wire, I'm going to show you a few things. If you want to learn to get control of your wire, here's what you do. You get just regular needle nose pliers, and I'm going to start out with electrical wire. And this is going to seem very basic to some people, but I've known people who couldn't bend wire, and it just was rocket science to them. You need to make 2 types of bends. Start out with electrical wire, move to coat hanger wire, then move to piano wire. The 2 types of bends you need to make are a hard bend, like that, and a curve, like that. If you can do that with 1 pair of pliers, then you'll be able to do any kind of bend you want. It's a matter of control. With the hard bend, you want to think, and for those who already know this and think this is, you know, simple, you don't need to watch it, but I'm telling you, some people have trouble with this. When you make a hard bend, you need to focus your attention on where you have that bend. You need to make sure this stays straight. So the whole time you're bending, you're focusing here, and you're thinking on the rest of this wire, do not bend, do not bend, do not bend. Okay? I can hold it here and turn it and bend it just there. You want to be able to do that. All right? You do not want to make this kind of bend when you don't want to. If you want to make a hard bend and you just curve it, you're going to get this. If you don't want that kind of bend, you have to focus. You have to focus only here, this whole thing. If the rest of this wire starts to bend, you stop what you're doing. You do something different. You only bend in the spot you want to bend. Now the opposite, you think the opposite. If I want to curve this around, you think you don't focus here, except you don't want to bend there. You just watch it and you move your pliers and everything wherever you need to do to get a nice even curve. And I know that's not a great explanation, but I think it's the only one I have. So when you have your wire, you practice two different things. You practice the hard bend, make sure you can do it. You practice the curve. Once you can do that, move up to coat hanger wire and then piano wire. You want to do the same thing. When you're starting out with a hard bend, it's best to push right where that wire is. Boom. All right. But if you really want control, you want to be able to do it from a little further away. Okay. You want to be able to do that. Let me get this out of the picture here. And when I'm doing that, I'm thinking to myself, I'm watching this wire, I'm focusing here. And if it starts to bend anywhere else, I change what I'm doing. You do whatever works. So I want to bend here. I'm focusing at that point, and that's where you have your bend. The opposite, like I just talked about, is also true. I'll bend this backwards. If you want a smooth bend, you think you don't. You focus on not bending here. You focus on keeping it even. You want a nice even curve. Man, it just twisted around on me, so this isn't a fair demonstration. But that's the idea. This would be better with these. With these. There we are. So if I want to curve that around big, I'm going to move this way. Okay. But if I want a little bend, it's almost like here. You focus, you picture in your mind where you want it to go, and then you focus on just that thing. And if it starts to move in a way that you don't want it to move, you change what you're doing. See? And I got a nice little loop-de-loop there. I hope I don't have to do this whole video over because I keep going off my camera. So those are some wire bending tips. I hope this video was helpful. And if you have any questions, you can email me at maggie@thebutlerschool.org. If you have any suggestions, comments, corrections, anything, let me know. Tell me in the comments. Happy fun wire bending. Woohoo!